Today I've got a huge amount of rocket leaves that are coming out of the garden, so we're going to make a rocket oil, and that's going to be our dressing over the top of our autumn salad. This salad looks fantastic, but it also tastes just as good. So take your rocket, drop it into boiling water. There's a litre of water in there that's boiling. Into that I'd probably put 2 tablespoons of salt. Drop your rocket in, count to 10, and then straight into iced water. We want to stop this from cooking instantly. Then we're going to take this over and we're going to blend it with some oil. Pull it out of the water, squeeze out all of that ice water, and you're not left with a lot. So that's why I was saying, if you have a huge amount of rocket that you want to use up and use up quickly, make a large amount of rocket oil. This will be enough to give us 2 or 3 tablespoons of oil to dress our one salad. Take that, drop it into a blender, and then you want to add a couple of tablespoons of oil and a pinch of salt. If you've got a hand blender, you can just put it into a bowl, use a stick blender. So I've just blended that. It's still quite coarse. And then I'm going to put this into a sieve with a little bit of cheesecloth in it, because this is just going to allow us to squeeze out all of that oil that's in there. So you can see that colour, look how amazing that is. So say if you put it into a jar, put a little bit of cling film on top of it, and then seal it so that the oxygen's not touching that, because if you don't allow any oxygen into this, it will stay bright for a long time, 2 or 3 months. So next up, we've got our autumn salad. So today, I'm actually using crown pumpkin. However, you can pretty much use anything in this salad. I've got a bit of butternut, you could use parsnips, you could use kumara. It's pretty open to whatever you want to use. So this is just a small crown pumpkin, and it's as simple as just cutting in half and then into quarters and scooping out the seeds. And with the seeds, you know, if you want, keep the seeds, dry the seeds out, and then you could toast them and use them as a garnish over the top if you want. Or you can just wash them, pop them into the ground and grow your own pumpkin for next year. Pop them into a fry pan, a little bit of oil over the top, try and get the backside of it as well. A good sprinkling of salt over the top. And season the skin as well, because we are going to eat the skin. And then you just take that, pop that into the oven, 180 degrees. It's going to take a while because it's a big piece of pumpkin. So you're going to look at about 25 to 30 minutes. But just roast it until you can put a knife cleanly through it and it just passes through it nicely and easily. Once the pumpkin is just about cooked, we're going to take some tomatoes and we'll pop those into the pan for the final 10 minutes. Lovely. So those have been in for a good 20-25 minutes. They're starting to get a bit of colour on there, and the knife passes through there easily. And we're now going to load our salad up inside that. So that's going to act as a little plate to hold everything in, like a little pumpkin bowl. So we can put these back in with our tomatoes. So in here I've just got some little cherry guys. I've got a little vine, little baby vine on the vine. So take your tomatoes, pop them into your roasting pan along with your pumpkin. I'm going to put a touch more oil on that, just a smidgen. A little bit of salt in there. Give that a little whoosh around like so. Make sure the tomatoes nicely covered in all that oil and a little bit of salt. And then we're going to pop those back into the oven for about 10 minutes until these tomato skins just start to blister ever so slightly, and then they're good to go. Okay, so one of the final things we've got to do for our autumn salad is the chili honey. So this is really simple. All we need to do is heat some honey with some water, and then we're going to add a few flecks of chili into that. Decent whack of honey, and then just a little bit of water just to loosen that up. Got my chili flakes. You just want to put that onto a heat sauce and just heat it until the honey is all dissolved. That's it. So that's simmering, and so you just keep cooking it until that honey is all dissolved. Right, so let's finish our autumn salad. Our pumpkin and our tomatoes are ready. They're fresh out of the oven, delicious. I've got some walnuts here. So all I've done with these walnuts is I've just put them into this pan, into the oven that our pumpkin and our tomatoes were in, and I just roasted them for 5 minutes. Take our pumpkin, you can see there you've got the natural bowl, or it's a natural cup that you can load everything into it. Tomatoes on top. Next up is our cow's feta. And then we want to come in with our walnuts. And then we take our honey. Tasty, ugh, bubbling goodness over the top. Then to finish, we've got our rocket oil that we made earlier. I've just got a few leaves here. There's a bit of rocket in there. It's kind of what's come out of the garden. But it's just to give it a nice little green garnish on top, and then that finishes it off. And then just a touch more of your rocket oil. The colour is amazing. It just lifts the dish. So there's your autumn salad. Deliciousness.